What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode 190 of the Tastecast, our weekly podcast. We're talking about all things gaming. On this episode, we go through game releases this month. We talk about the games we've been playing. Been playing a lot of spooky ones. We'll talk about it. And then we react to the Jujutsu Kaisen Cursed Clash trailer. We react to the Helldivers 2 official co-op trailer. We react to the Payday 3 first hands-on preview and play catch-up with those videos. And then we watch the ID at Xbox showcase that happened earlier today. If you're here for that specifically, everything will be chaptered, so make sure to find what you're looking for here or watch the whole thing, have the conversation with us. And we read your comments at the very end of this, of course. And yeah, so make sure to like this video if you like what we do here. Make sure to subscribe if you're brand new. Make sure to share this with your friends. And hopefully you enjoy this episode of Tastecast. What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode 190 of the Tastecast, our weekly podcast where we talk all things gaming. My name's Seth, and of course, joining me today is Chevy. Chevy, we got a big Tastecast to go through. We got game releases. We got like 3 trailers we got to watch, and then we got the Xbox ID showcase indie thing that we're going to be watching. Hopefully, you're excited to watch all that. But before we do all that, how you doing?
Doing good. Busy, so time has been pretty limited, but I did manage to get some stuff played last week. So
I actually have a pretty big list I'll be going through myself. So not what I think people will be expecting possibly, but I got a lot of games to talk about. So yeah, same boat. I've also been busy. We have similar schedules, and we also go to the gym together. So we're hanging out a lot. But yeah, haven't had a whole lot of time to play a lot of things in the last couple of weeks. But this last week, I was able to play some stuff. So pretty excited to be able to talk about some stuff there. So yeah, this is the first Tastecast of July. That's the month we are in. And with that, let's jump into our game releases that we have to go through and talk about, because the first one. So we're going to talk about the games coming out, see if we're hyped or not hyped for these. And luckily, this is a pretty small list because this year so far has been pretty brutal in terms of big banger games I have to buy. Starting off with July 4th, we had Synapse come out on PSVR 2. Then on July 7th, we had The Legend of Heroes Trails into Reverie, PS4, PS5, Switch, and PC. Then on July 12th, we got Oxenfree 2, Lost Signals, PS4, PS5, Switch, and PC. July 13th, we have Atelier Mari Remake, The Alchemist of Salberg. Rolls are off the tongue on PS4, PS5, Switch, and PC. Then on the 13th as well, we have Manic Mechanics on Switch. July 14th, we get Exoprimal finally coming out on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series, and PC. And then on the 18th, we get Lisa Definitive Edition. Don't know what that is. With Definitive Edition, I feel like I should. On PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series, Switch, and PC. Then on July 21st, we get Pikmin 4 coming out on Switch. Then July 25th, we get Remnant 2 coming out on PS5, Xbox Series, PC. Then on the 26th, we get Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart on PC. Pretty cool. People on PC are going to get to play that. And then on the 27th, we have The Expanse, a Telltale Series Episode 1, which will be interesting to see Telltale back on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series, and PC. And then the last big title of July is on the 28th, Disney Illusion Island on Switch. Chevy, what games are you excited to pick up in July?
it's a real easy one for me. Remnant 2
All right.
will be my must purchase of the month. Outside of that, I already own it on PlayStation, but I would implore anyone who doesn't have a PlayStation and has a PC to get Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. It is a very fun game.
Yeah, I never beat it, but from what I did play, I really liked it.
I did beat it, and there's quite a bit to do in the game, so I think it's well worth the money. Plus, I'm kind of a Ratchet & Clank fan anyways. I think they're a lot of fun, so... other than that, I'm kind of curious to see how Telltale does. Obviously, they've been gone a while. And I have a passing interest in the Atelier series, but I don't have time. So
Yeah, I feel that. All right. Well, I'll be picking up Exoprimal on July 14th. I'm not necessarily super hyped on it, but I did play the beta and I enjoyed it, so I think it'll be a fun game to play with friends. I didn't get to experience the rewards you get in the beta, which was kind of lame, but definitely excited to try it out. Hopefully it has enough staying power. I'm kind of worried it's not gonna, but I'm willing to take the risk. Let's see. Synapse looked kind of interesting on PSVR 2, but I don't have PSVR 2. You do. I'm sure you'd let me use it, but that's not necessarily a preferable scenario for me to purchase a game for, but definitely an option. Remnant 2, 100% first day buy. It's one of my most hyped games for this year, oddly enough. So really excited to play that. And then, because I love the first one, if you haven't played it, go check it out. Although this is coming out very soon, so maybe you can just wait and play this. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. I will be curious to see how it performs on PC because so far seems like Sony's done a good job at porting games. Some games not so much though, like Last of Us I know had some issues. So hopefully this one comes out and works for everyone just fine. But it's definitely a very well-made AAA game that I'm stoked to see people on PC getting a chance to play. And then I'm really curious to see how The Expanse is received because Telltale has gone through a lot of weird stuff. And they are back and they are making games again. And I want to see if they're just as good as they were before, if they're worse off, or possibly even better. I know they're working on The Wolf Among Us 2, season 2, is that what it's called? And I'm really excited for that. So hopefully this does well. The Expanse, though, I have no affinity for, so don't have much to say when it comes to that brand. But overall, a really easy month, which is great because the last month was a very hectic and busy month in a lot of ways for me, and in terms of like games and things I had to play, stuff like that. And this month seems a lot more chill for me, except for when Remnant 2 comes out. I'll be binging that. I can't wait to play it. But yeah, anything else?
Nope.
All right, let us know in the comments what games have you already picked up in July? What games are you planning on picking up in July? What games would you recommend us play possibly if it wasn't on this list, but you're playing it? Maybe it's an indie game, maybe it's like an early access game. You're like, oh yeah, this game came out or is coming out in July. Let us know everything you're thinking about in the comments below when it comes to game releases in July. All right, let's jump into what we've been playing, where we discuss the games we've been playing in the last week or so. Now, it's been a little bit since we did our last Tasty Cast, so pretty much in between those two will work for me. But how about you start us off with the games you've been playing recently?
Okay. So Steam Summer Sale exists now, and I went ahead and knocked out some of the stuff on my wish list. I think it's kind of funny that every time there's a summer sale, I never buy AAA games. I just buy a crap ton of indie games. So I haven't played through all the ones I bought yet, but the ones I have played so far is I played Project High Rise, which is a management sim where you make a skyscraper basically, and you choose what kind of slots are allotted. So like, is this a room where power is distributed in the building? Is this an elevator slot? Is this a storage location, restaurant, retail business? Is it an office space? Is it a place for people to live? Stuff like that. So and then obviously the whole idea is to make it bigger and bigger and be profitable. So I played it for about 2 hours. Actually, it was actually a hair over 2 hours, and I didn't dislike it, but I decided that I had a lot of games that kind of scratched the same itch that it was providing, and so I went ahead and refunded it. That's not a knock to the game. I just didn't want to throw another game like that on top of the pile.
That sounds like a game I played a long time ago on like iPhone 3. Where you like built a tower and you had to like micromanage it and stuff. It's a really early game.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's pretty much what the game is. So,
yeah.
And it's fine, but yeah, it's like, I could put this money somewhere else. So,
yeah, makes sense.
But it is a pretty alright game. So if you are looking for something like that, I didn't think it was bad. I just didn't fit my needs at the time. I picked up Valhalla, which is spelled VA-11. HALL-A, a cyberpunk bartending action.
Oh yeah,
This is a story-based game where sometimes you make a decision and you make people drinks. Like that's basically the gameplay loop. That being said, the writing's really good. I really liked it. The character interactions are a lot of fun. The setting is right up my alley. I like cyberpunk stuff. You kind of work as this person in a seedy bar in a really shitty little apartment that you have to keep making sure you can pay rent for. And the way the game's set up is you do half a day, you get a saved point. You do the second half of the day, you get a save point. You just keep doing that until you get through, I think it's a month, and then you get whatever ending you get. There's not a lot of endings, but I did get most of them in one playthrough because there are 2 main endings and a bunch of optional endings that'll happen after the good or bad ending, depending on your relationships with your clientele. And I can't really say a whole lot more without spoiling any of it, but if you like pixel art games, if you like story narrative driven games, it's something that's just kind of chill that you can kind of like play on the side type of deal. I liked it quite a bit, enough to sit down and just kind of beat it. So, which was kind of nice because I haven't beaten him in a while, unfortunately.
Did you show me it at all? I can't.
I didn't
think of what it looks like.
So is the chat box at the bottom. On the left is the bar, and then the people show up in that window, and on the right is the drinks.
Okay.
So, and then you just mix them, and there's a catalog. So there's no you don't have to memorize them, though. It would speed up the game if you could, but you can just click on the recipes and make them. So,
gotcha.
Is definitely a pretty relaxed game. But yeah, I liked it quite a bit, and kind of what struck my interest on it, anyways, was that it had overwhelming positive reviews on Steam, and I can see why. Like I said, I think the dialogue and the writing was really good. So, and the setting was fun. So, I would recommend it if that is your type of game. And then the game has probably taken the most of my time in the last week, as I also bought RimWorld. I've been putting it off for a long time. It never goes on sale, ever. It also has overwhelmingly positive reviews.
I've heard nothing but good things about
I started playing it, and I have 40 hours in it now. So, super, super addictive is definitely my kind of game. You basically get a randomly generated seed, or you can put a seed in. You get a planet you crash land on with 3 survivors, at least at the base settings. You can re-roll them to get random stats and stuff like that, but you don't pick the stats. You just keep hitting random until you get perks, and the game has negative perks as well, which is a fun twist. I had a character who was really good at crafting, but they were also just a misogynist, and so they would just attack people constantly, and then I'd have to put them in jail to make them chill out for a while. So yeah, so you build a base out of multiple materials. You start with wood. You get limestone, slate, marble, steel, gold, silver, etc. There's just tons of materials you can make your base out of. And you start off real basic, and eventually get to the point where you build a rocket ship to escape the planet. So random events happen all the time, and random ailments happen too. So you can be just doing your own thing, and all of a sudden some random tribe decides that they want to raid you, and they show up on the map. And every time an event happens, the game pauses, gives you a second to think, which is nice. And then you can set up people to defend, or you can. It's basically a toggle for combat, so you can either have someone combat ready or not. And so you turn the people on you want to fight. The other people can keep working if you want, or you can go hide them if you're worried about them getting killed. People can take all sorts of different types of wounds. They can take they can get an eye scratch and create a permanently damaged eye for the rest of the game at that point, as well, as an example. And eventually you can learn stuff like bionic eyes and stuff like that, so you can replace them. But these do add permanent stat disabilities to the characters when they get injured and stuff like that too. Very in-depth game. It's pretty cool. You get random quests from people, so you have to set up caravans basically and make sure they have enough food and supplies, and then they go off and random events can happen to them. Very Oregon Trail-like in that regard. You can do animal husbandry. People can get sick. Animals can get sick. All sorts of random stuff. Animals can just randomly decide to become man-eaters, and they start attacking people, or they'll just randomly go, I like these people, and then all of a sudden they're like, they tame themselves, and they're your I have 2 rhinos because they decided they wanted to hang out with me all of a sudden. So, man, there's so many other things I could say about it, but I feel like I would just be explaining the entire game. But it is a lot of fun. I have none of the DLCs yet. There are 3 of them for it that add even more gameplay features. Heard one of them even allows you to like try to raise children as well, which would probably just be another layer of micromanagement hell.
Anytime I've read about the game, it sounds super complicated.
So I had to restart twice. My first 2 attempts were very pitiful. The third time, I think I've learned how to make the rocket ship. I just have to make it now. So, but it has been a long journey to get to that point. There's also the option you will find a rocket ship somewhere on the map too, and you can just go to it, but you have to venture there and hope your people survive the trip. So, I don't know, pretty cool. I like it a lot. I would say if you like managing stuff, this is like crack cocaine, man. Like, it's real good. Unfortunately, though, it has the same problem that I have with like games like Civ, where it'll be, 11, 12 o'clock, and then all of a sudden it's 6.
Yeah, it sounds like one of those kind of games.
Shit, I gotta go to bed. So, a lot of fun. I'm totally going to be playing it more. I look forward to beating a campaign and then trying it with different modifiers and stuff like that. Because I was pretty good about, like, I hit random a lot to get, like, pretty good people because I wanted to, like, learn the game still. So, but I would be curious to play it with more random elements in the future. So, yeah, a lot of fun. Big time recommend on that one. And then the last game I played is a game that you talked to me about before, and I just randomly decided to buy it, which is Halls of Torment. It's a vampire survivor style game, and it has the visual art style of like Diablo 1.
Yeah, Diablo 2-ish, yeah.
Yeah. Definitely a nicer looking, because it's newer. But and it is very much like familiar while offering new things. But it wasn't like I didn't really, the learning curve was so small because I had already played a decent amount of Vampire Survivors. Then I had played another game called Hollow Cure that had given me enough experience that just hopping into this, I just had to learn its systems a little more. I will say this game comes off a little more challenging than Vampire Survivors in the beginning, at least. I don't have enough upgrades to make a full judgment, and I haven't put the same amount of hours in, that's for sure, to give it a really solid verdict. But so far I have the main character, which is, I think, is a swordsman, and then I unlock the archer. I definitely prefer the archer, even though they have no hit points.
Yeah.
So, but increasing my run speed to just dodge everything, it's kind of the way I go with that one. I do like that there was because the game does the same thing where you do achievements and unlocks features in the game or whatever. And one of the ones for the archer was not getting hit for like 6 minutes straight or something like that. So, yeah, pretty fun. I don't know if I'm in love with it, but it is a good game and I'll keep it. So, because I want to play it more and kind of like figure out more of the deeper systems. Because I know like Vampire Survivors 2 was kind of one of those games where like you start off and it's fine, but as you unlock a bunch of stuff, it definitely becomes a lot more fun. So, I feel like this will be the same, but I have to get there. So.
Yeah.
That's what I've been playing.
Well, since you just talked about Halls of Torment, that's where I'll start. I also have been playing that recently. I have about 10 hours into it. It's an auto shooter. It's Vampire Survivors, and I don't really need more of these kind of games in my life because Vampire Survivors is still really good and it's super addictive still plenty of content for me to explore with that. I bought another game like a month and a half ago that's also a Vampire Survivors type game, and it's also really fun. It's a little more cartoony, but it's 3D. I think it's 3D, right? I think so. And it's a lot of fun. So I played this because I guess this came out a while ago, but because of certain streamers, I think Asmongold is one of the ones that popularized it recently. He's been playing it. It's got like this bump in sales, and that's the only reason it even hit my radar. So yeah, I picked it up just because I thought the aesthetic was interesting. It definitely is highly influenced by Diablo. Does not try to hide that at all. And you pretty much already talked about basically how it's set up, but a couple things to that. I've only unlocked 3 of the characters. I have the main sword guy that you start with. I have the archer, and then I just unlocked the cleric, which is a magic user. But you know how you have the cone where you attack. Mm-hmm. So in the game, your character, it's interesting. This game, it's really interesting. So in most auto shooters, you just move your character and they auto attack. In this game, you can turn that on and off really quickly, especially if you're playing with mouse and keyboard, even though it plays great on Steam Deck and with a controller. But if you right click, it just auto attacks. The closest thing to your character, it hits. If you right click again, though, you can actually aim your cursor around with your mouse, and you can decide when you attack and where you attack. And I actually think that's really neat because you can kind of, in situations where you have a lot of dudes attacking all at once, you can prioritize your exit strategy. A lot of times for me, I'll be like, okay, that's the weakest point. I just run that way and aim that way and start blasting through dudes to get out of a situation where I'm getting surrounded. So anyway, the main guy just kind of swings in front of him. And then the archer also shoots in that direction, but has longer range. And I think also is really good. But the cleric is interesting because they attack in front of them. It seems like they're casting, but it's just a cone, but it attacks twice. And then there's a delay for a while. Then it attacks twice. So at first I'm like, I kind of hate that. But I started increasing the attack speed. Mm-hmm. And then I started realizing if you're if you're manually aiming and attacking when you want, you can kind of hit 2 different directions in a quick succession. You can go up, and just kind of hit in 2 different directions, and it kind of gives you a new way to play the character as opposed to the other characters. It gives you a new starting point to kind of think about new builds, and so that's kind of interesting. But yeah, I think the archer was preferable, but I've gotten the furthest, I think, with the melee guy because I built him up kind of tanky with a lot of I think I did crit chance and crit damage, and I was able to take a lot of hits even though I wasn't getting hit very often. When I did, it barely affected me, so that was pretty beneficial. But yeah, it's Vampire Survivors. I just like that you can turn off the auto attack and kind of feel like you're a little more hands-on, and sometimes it comes in handy to do that. The aesthetic is cool. I also think the combat has a different... I mean, of course, when you upgrade certain things, it's going to affect the combat. But I think standard-wise, the combat has a different cadence to it than Vampire Survivors, which just kind of... Every character starts out slow and then eventually just has a bunch of shit flying out of them. And this game can be like that as well, but also you can kind of make builds that feel a little more, I don't know, something closer akin to like an ARPG. That's kind of interesting. So it doesn't super like reinvent the wheel, but it definitely kind of seems to have a more focused version of that wheel as opposed to some of the other games out there that are trying to be like Vampire Survivors. So I appreciate that about it. As for content, I think it has, I looked up a little bit, I think it has like 7 classes, so it doesn't have anywhere near the amount that Vampire Survivors has. It has a couple, I don't remember how many it said, but it doesn't have as many maps either, but the game hasn't been out as long, but it was kind of impressive when Vampire Survivors first came out and the amount of fucking content that game had, so hopefully they can play catch up a bit with that, but yeah, so far I've been really enjoying it. It's a really solid Vampire Survivors like auto shooter, and I'll definitely continue to play it. And I love that the game hasn't been out for that long, and it already works fantastic on Steam Deck. It's already set up so that all the buttons are set up for it, and runs really good. So yeah, pretty cool game. I revisited the Outlast Trials. I haven't played it in a while. Played it for like an hour or two the other day, and the game's still a lot of fun. I haven't done I think there's a fourth scenario in the game. I haven't done it yet, but I've played everything else. And the people who are still playing that game are all seasoned vets now, which is interesting. So when I first played it, I was pretty decent at it, and a lot of people were still getting used to it. So a lot of times I was the guy who had to, help people out and give people tips and look out for people, stuff like that. Now I play and like everyone's just running through the map, and I'm like, okay, so we're all on the same level. We all just cruise through it. And my first match back in the game, me and this group of people all got A+, which I was like, that's not how it was when I was playing it originally. So people have been playing, and that's cool. I am curious to see how they support this game. If the game is just done, I doubt it is. I haven't looked at a roadmap either, in case you're like, there of course is a bunch of stuff coming out. But if it's a one and done, I've actually gotten plenty of gameplay out of it, and I would still play it, so that wouldn't be that big a deal. But I do hope they support it, because the formula is a lot of fun, the multiplayer is a lot of fun, the scenarios are a lot of fun and varied, and the amount of content in the game that you unlock is way more than I expected. So they already did a really good job with the foundation. I would just like to see more from it, and give me more reasons to come back and play. I forgot to mention real quick, because I wanted to segue from what you talked about to what I'm talking about, but games I've played that I can't talk about is Alan Wake. I've played the first 2 chapters of it, so I'll stop there. But I have played it, and I plan on playing more. And then I played a little bit of Cold War, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War on PlayStation Plus. I already talked to you about it a bit, but just as a discussionary thing, the full game on PS5 is 175 gigs.
Yeah, I don't install stuff.
That's fucking crazy. Yeah, so we'll talk about that at the end of the month. Not I mean, I guess technically it is a big deal because it's a big file, but pretty crazy. I'm looking forward to uninstalling the game, but I don't mean that in a negative or positive way. I just want that off my hard drive. So yeah. So the next 3 games all kind of coincide with each other, because as anyone who watches this channel knows, I'm a Phasmophobia fan. Really like it. Yeah, I've made TikToks about it. I covered it on there when it was announced for console, because I was really excited for people on console to finally get to play it. Still am. And crossplay. So any of my console friends in this community wants to play it, I will be down. But with that, I got a bunch of people in my comments over there telling me games that are similar to Phasmophobia that I should play. And so I went down that rabbit hole, and 2 of them, one of them I already owned, one of them was on my wish list, and one of them I'd never heard of. And so that one was Ghost Watchers. Somebody said that they liked Ghost Watchers more than Phasmophobia. I'm like, that's a big claim, because I still think Phasmophobia is probably the best cooperative horror game that exists. If we're talking straight up horror that's effective in a multiplayer setting, I don't think there's a lot of examples that exist that can compete with it. Phasmophobia can creep people out in a group setting, and that's impressive. So this person said Ghost Watchers is better. So, of course, I went and bought it, especially during this Steam summer sale. It was like perfect time. All these games are like $10.
Yeah.
And so I was like, cool, let's try it out. So I played Ghost Watchers, and for anybody who doesn't know what Ghost Watchers is a Phasmophobia-like ghost hunting game. But the thing that differentiates it from Phasmophobia is there are 3 phases to every investigation in Ghost Watchers. You start out doing the investigation similar to Phasmophobia. You go around the house, you use different items like EMF readers, black lights, all sorts of stuff to find clues for what you are investigating. As you do that, you go through a journal and you start putting in the things you're finding, temperatures, all that stuff, and it starts eliminating ghosts to the point where you, through deduction, are able to decide what ghost you're investigating, what its age is, and what its temperament is. There's like concerned, aggressive, calm. There's all these different temperaments, and you can kind of tell too in their behaviors. But anyway, once you have that locked in, unlike Phasmophobia, where you just leave and hope you got the right guess, in this you go up to a machine that materializes the ghost. and you put in your guess, and you get 3 chances. If you fail your guess, the thing blows up, and you get 2 more guesses, 1 more guess. Then if you do all 3 and you fail all 3, you fail the mission. But if you are successful in your guess, you go into the second phase of the investigation, which is when you materialize the ghost. Before this, anytime you see the ghost, it looks like this wraith thing floating around. But once you've materialized it actually turns into the ghost that you're investigating, with its own properties, its own visual style, its own things it can do. Some ghosts can be up on the ceiling creeping around. Some can come through the floor. There's a little kid ghost that runs around with a gas mask on. And yeah, so in the second phase, now that you've identified what the ghost is, you go back to your van, and there's all these items that you can weaken the ghost with. Certain items only work on certain ghosts, certain items don't work on certain ghosts, and certain items will just irritate the ghost, which is sometimes beneficial because you need it to do something. So you go through and you have to do it step by step. You can't do it out of order. And I think there's like 8 steps, something like that. And so you go through and you're doing all these steps. There's like a book you can put down, kind of like a proximity mine, if they're weak to it, that if they get near it, the book will start floating. And if they're near it long enough, it'll do this like little animation where it explodes and they'll be weakened by it. There's also a torch you can use as fire, but you can also throw it at them to weaken them if they're weak to that. There's something called Ashes of Vesuvius, which is like a vial you can throw at them. Salt you can throw at them. All sorts of stuff. There's a crucifix. All sorts of things to weaken it. Once you've weakened the ghost, you go into the third phase, which is the easiest phase and kind of satisfying after you've been through all this, but also kind of dorky. You go and you grab a Pokeball, basically, and you find the ghost wandering around, and you throw it and you capture it. Once you've done that, you've completed the match. So it's similar to Phasmophobia, but also very different. And overall, I've actually really enjoyed it. I think it's really good. I think it's probably my second favorite Phasmophobia style game.
Is that the one where you get dragged off?
Yeah. I forgot to mention that there is random scenarios where the ghosts can hit you, which always freaks me out because it's random, and everybody at the same time gets hit. So everyone goes, whoa, at the same time. It's really funny how everybody, like, you're just like walking and you hit, you get startled. And then when you go to make a noise, everybody else just like saying the same thing. You're like, oh yeah, okay, we all got hit. But then also you sometimes will get like fingers across your screen, and then you just get dragged out of the room down the hallway and get dragged into the basement or whatever. It's always really scary because they drag you really far away, and then all of a sudden you just are in a room by yourself, and maybe you didn't go in that room earlier, so you didn't turn the lights on or anything, so it's like pitch black, and you guys just like freaking out and breathing hard, and you're like, oh shit, and you're trying to get back upstairs or whatever. So it adds kind of an interesting twist to the investigation that can kind of mix things up. The ghost can also interact, depending on what it is, with things. So like you'll put down equipment that you're trying to like use for the investigation, and sometimes you'll see it gets picked up and just gets taken off.
Like a poltergeist.
Yeah, and then you're like, where'd that go? And you got to go through the house, try and find it because they put it in some weird spot. That's always interesting. So yeah, Ghost Watchers is a lot of fun. And the person that said that was, they like that more than Phasmophobia. I don't 100% agree, but I understand why you say that because it's actually really good. So that's pretty cool to be able to say. Then when I made a video about that, people said that Demonologist is their favorite. Well, I have Demonologist. I've played Demonologist like once. Didn't have a great experience the first time. And then me and Josh played Demonologist the other night. And we were so confused on what was even going on that we were not able to have fun with it. So I think I need to play with only people I know and get the basics of the game down. But it's another Phasmophobia style game. You go to different locations, you bring equipment, you go into houses that are always crazily designed. They're like half house, half like tomb, half like the. It's so like I'm walking around the house. I'm like, I don't understand who the hell would have even designed this house. The big thing about Demonologist that kind of differentiates it from Phasmophobia, but I don't know if in an important enough way, is there's a lot of like environmental things that happen when you walk in rooms. You'll see like paintings do weird things, mannequins do weird things, and when you find the room that's being haunted, there's a lot of like in that room events that happen. Like me and Josh were in a room, and the people we were playing with were just like putting things down and just talking and doing a bunch of stuff. And I was like, I don't know what's happening. And Josh is near a desk. And all of a sudden, a dude came out of the desk at him real quick and then disappeared. I'm like, that's weird. He came out of the desk. Like, you'd have to program that in the game for that. And then that same room, like the whole room changed, and like these like things started moving around and stuff. Then we went back to the room we're in, and like I was impressed with the amount of events that were happening in this one room. I'm curious to see how many rooms per location have this amount of things happening, but the investigation aspect was not as exciting as other games in the genre, because it was a lot of like standing around, repeating yourself over and over again, waiting for something to happen while all these like funhouse things are happening. And then anytime a hunt happened, people were just like, run. And like everybody's just like, run. There's no hiding. It was just like, don't get killed. And everybody just try to run out of the house and then run back in. Whereas in like Phasmophobia, you can like actually go hide in a closet, hide behind a couch. Like, there's a whole thing to it. But in this, it was just like, don't get killed. So much so that, and I don't know what the cues are. I haven't played the game enough. But this guy, nothing happened, no sound, no anything. He was just like, it's a hunt, run. I'm like, what does that mean? And he's like ran out the door. And me and Josh start running, and no animation or anything. All of a sudden, my screen just went to a different room. It was just all of a sudden I was in a different room. There's a girl in front of me, and she goes, bah, like just killed me. And I was like, what happened? And all of a sudden I was dead. And like, Josh is like, oh, I just saw you like float in the air and your arms start breaking and stuff. And I'm like, I didn't even see an animation that happened. All of a sudden I was just in another room and I was dead. Yeah. So, I need to play it more to know if I even like it or not. But, sadly, Josh refunded the game, so I don't know if I'll be playing it with him. But yeah, Demonologist, there's some potential there, possibly. And then another game that somebody had told me to play that I played was Forewarned, which has been on my wish list for a while, but I finally pulled the trigger because I'm just kind of going through these games now. Another one I played too is Ghost Exile, but I haven't played it enough to talk about it, so I will keep that on the back burner for another taste cast. But I played Forewarned. Forewarned is really interesting because it's also a Phasmophobia style game, 4-player, but you're like an archaeologist in Egypt, and you're trying to investigate tombs and do a ritual to like resurrect like mummies or whatever the hell. And so you show up at a dig site from your Jeep, you walk over, you open up your backpack, and all your stuff's on a table, and you start picking up things. It has all this equipment to do the investigation with. You go into the tomb, and it's dark as shit in there. You can use like a headlamp, a flashlight, a torch. There's like a thing you can talk to entities with, and it's got a lot of similar stuff as Phasmophobia. But there's a huge emphasis on exploration and environmental dangers. So there's like rooms where you have to walk across like a thin walkway, and there's blades swinging. There's platforms that are like moving around. You have to walk across and time it correctly. There's like there's a hole I fell into, and when I was down there, it was like pitch black, and I was finding all this gold. There's a bunch of gold you can find that you can use to buy equipment and stuff like that. But then there's like mummified monsters walking around down there that were attacking me. I was able to hit them back with a torch. So it felt like an adventure game almost. And seeing them walk around was a clue, because not every tomb's going to have monsters walking around. So I went into my journal, and there's a thing for that. I was like, okay, I guess, yeah, there's things resurrected. That's what those are. Also, one of the clues is like if your torch gets blown out aggressively, like sometimes it just goes out and you have to relight it. But every once in a while, like a breeze will just hit it and knock it out, and that's a clue. Once you figure out all the clues, there's this end door that you have to make your guess on. If you guess correctly, it opens it up. When you walk in, you find out what mummy or whatever the hell you're resurrecting. And when I was playing with randos, anytime this thing would show up, come out of its coffin or tomb or whatever, they're always like, run, and they would just like run away. And I was stuck in a cutscene where I'm watching it come out and float in the air, revealing itself, and I'm like, I can't fucking run. So I don't know if it's like because it's my first time thing, but yeah, then this is where it gets least interesting, which is kind of sad. because the investigation part's pretty fun. Every time these things came out, the boss essentially, you have to find a blue lever somewhere in the temple to open up the door to leave. And this thing's wandering around trying to get you. Everyone just runs back to the main door that has a ramp that goes up, and they just stand on the ramp and just stand there and wait, and they'll take pictures of it and stuff like that. But when it starts coming up the ramp, they drop off, and then they run off, and they come back on the ramp. So they just keep kiting it. So, like, it doesn't matter what it is, people know how to just not die from it. And so that kind of ruined it, hopefully.
Design, yeah.
So hopefully they can, like, redesign that to make it a little more engaging, because, my first time playing it, I'm seeing everyone just do the same strategy. I'm like, oh, okay, so that's what we do. But there's potential there for sure. I think it's cool that it's kind of different. It's a different theme. It's like archaeological Egypt stuff. There's also like random hieroglyphs and like treasure you can find, and you can pick it up. But you have to swap out stuff out of your inventory to take it with you. But when you go up top, you can drop it off in these boxes, and it gives you more rewards. So there's like this exploration aspect to it that the other games don't have, that I think is pretty neat. But they got to figure out that end scenario situation, because that wasn't engaging at all. I didn't even get to experience what that's like. I was like, okay, we just run back and hang out. Okay, cool. But yeah, so those are the games I've been playing lately. A lot of Ghost shit, apparently. It's just something I've been on. Haven't played Final Fantasy 16 yet. I'm hoping to get a chance to sit down and play that for a big chunk of time, because that's a game I don't really want to play for like 30 minutes and then leave, which is the hardest thing. And definitely going to be playing Endling as well. I need to play more of the Plus games, but yeah, that's what I've been playing. Anything else you got to say?
Nope.
All right, well, let us know in the comments, what games have you guys been playing lately? What games would you recommend us play? And if you have, I'm going to extend the question to you guys, because this is the community here. If you are a Phasmophobia fan and have played other Phasmophobia-style games, what's your favorite one? What games would you recommend me try out that I haven't mentioned here? And yeah, is Phasmophobia the best for you, or is there better ones? Let me know in the comments below. All right, so we got a lot of videos to watch. Playing a little bit of a catch up here, because in the last like week or so, 2 weeks for one of the videos, some stuff has come out that I've been wanting to react to, but we just haven't had time to get the taste cast out. So we're going to play catch up. So the first video we're going to be watching is for Jujutsu Kaisen Cursed Clash, which is a new Jujutsu Kaisen game. If you don't know what that is, it's an anime and a manga, and we are actually watching season 2 right now over on Tasty Flicks. We did a review of the first episode, so if you are watching Jujutsu Kaisen season 2 right now, join us and have a conversation over on Tasty Flicks, where we are reviewing every episode of that and determining what we're going to be watching and reviewing otherwise. Right now, we are always open to recommendations. So I know nothing about this game.
Me neither.
I haven't watched this. I've had it pulled up for a while, and I've been wanting to watch what it looks like, or see what it looks like, but been waiting to do this episode. So here we are. Anything you're hoping for before we watch this?
Hard to say, because I think most anime games are okay.
Yeah.
So it's hard for
me. I don't
me
expect anything huge from this
to get like super excited about it.
Mm-hmm.
There are obviously occasional ones, like Dragon Ball FighterZ was really good when it came out, and that new One Piece game, I think it was Odyssey, whichever one the role playing game one was. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But more often than not, it's just kind of like, if you're a fan of it, you probably enjoy it, but otherwise it might not grab your attention type of deal. So I expect more so that category. So
yeah, same. I don't even know what genre it is, even though I think, because when I originally skimmed through it for a second, originally when I pulled it up, it almost looked like a fighting game. But
I mean, that would be par for course.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. Maybe it's like that Naruto game that's like
a fighting game with a little extra.
Kind of, yeah. You like go to arenas and do stuff, but we'll find out. But yeah, I'm not expecting a lot from this, because like you said, I think most anime games are typically just passable. They're for fans of the anime, and they don't really strive to be anything, too crazy. with some exceptions for sure, but not that often. So we should probably just watch this so we can have an opinion. This is Jujutsu Kaisen Cursed Clash official announcement trailer, Bandai Namco Summer Showcase. 3, 2, 1, and go. It's going.
Consuming Sukuna is something only I can do.
That
So
is
even
not
if
the
I
voice
could
I
escape my
recognize.
death sentence,
Yeah,
get
I
away from this
don't know what they
responsibility,
sound like
someday
in
I'd be
English.
eating
This is
food,
weird.
Taking a bath or reading manga. And the moment I stop to think, I'd go, oh, I bet that right now somewhere out there, someone is dying because of Sukuna. But that doesn't concern me. It's certainly not my fault. You expect me to tell myself that? Well, I refuse to do that. I don't know how I'll feel when I'm dying. But I won't regret the way I lived. Sorry,
Yeah, fighting game.
but I'm not losing to anyone.
I would, since it means being true to myself.
Also reminds me of that Dragon Ball Z fighting game.
And it is Bandai Namco, but I would say it just looks like a Bandai Namco anime fighting game. So.
Yeah.
Think that'll stop me?
I'll wrap this up.
Yeah! Beat it!
Okay. I was like, is it team based?
How many before you crumble?
Man, thanks for having that right on the screen while shit's still happening. Well, Cursed Clash, I guess it makes sense name-wise. What we think?
It looked fine. Is exactly what I expected it to be, and I think it'll have an audience. I just don't think it's compelling enough for me. I don't like those style of fighting games. I'm a very traditional fighting game player, so. But I mean, I'm sure it'll be fun. So.
Yeah, this trailer wasn't that great because first off, the English voice acting I didn't realize was like that. That didn't sound anything like what I'm used to with Japanese. Like the tone just is completely different. But visually, it looks all right. But we're not seeing much here. We see like a couple stages and some hits. I'd like to see, the roster and what we can expect from. What the total package will be. It says 2v2. I'm curious to see if that will be you doing like teams switching out or if you'll be able to play with people 2v2.
They look like they were all on screen. Yeah, they're all there at the same time.
Yeah, that'd be kind of interesting. That would be something I would definitely be interested in trying. My biggest thing here is there Jujutsu Kaisen games?
I don't know.
You don't know of any? Okay. I don't know of any either. So to see them getting, or that anime getting a game is enough for me to be interested to see, how much they put into this, if it'll even be good or not. So that curiosity alone makes me at least want to check it out. But I do think I'll wait for impressions of, any personalities I watch or aggregate of reviews to see how it's being received, because if it's not being received very well by a lot of people and I'm not super hyped on it, I would be less inclined to rush out to play it. But if people are positive about it, think it's great, I'd be more interested, because even though I'm not also a big fan of that perspective in fighting games, I didn't like it in the Dragon Ball Z game, I'd be willing to try it out with a different brand behind it, just to kind of see what they can do with Jujutsu Kaisen and that kind of gameplay. But yeah, for me, like my fighting games are Tekken, Soul Calibur style fighting games, and then the 2D perspective realm. The new Street Fighter is really good. Guilty Gear is great, of course. But then like below that would be this style, or I don't even know if there's any other styles of fighting games really, but that style is just like the lowest tier fighting game for me. It's not even really that interesting for me. So
Yeah.
But I'd be willing to try it again with a game under a brand we don't typically get games for. So looks all right though.
Yeah. There's a part coming up here. I don't know if I was crazy or whatever, but it looked like they recorded a mouse cursor on screen.
That wasn't mine, was it?
No, because yours has been at the bottom left this whole time.
Okay.
Give me a second. Maybe I might have just been seeing things. But
Maybe you're crazy. At the very least, we can...
Right there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, you're right.
Nice trailer, guys.
Yeah, that's good. So here, for anybody watching, here's my mouse cursor on top of theirs. And then they have theirs right there. So, yeah. Maybe that's IGN's fault. Maybe they recorded this from somebody's presentation.
Maybe. I just I thought that was a little bizarre. So
Yeah, I'm surprised you caught that. But as soon as I saw it, I was like seeing Bigfoot. So, but yeah, anything else you want to say on that?
No.
All right. Well, great way to finish off our impressions of that. But let us know in the comments. What do you guys think of Jujutsu Kaisen Cursed Clash? Are you excited for it? Are you not excited for it? If you are excited for it, what are you excited about? Is this your kind of fighting game? Is it just a brand for you? Are you a fan of Jujutsu Kaisen? If you haven't seen Jujutsu Kaisen, why not? And are you watching season 2? And yeah, if you're not interested, let me know why not. If that's something you feel like talking about, let me know everything you're thinking about in the comments below when it comes to Jujutsu Kaisen Cursed Clash. All right. Quick and easy. Next video is one I'm really excited to watch because I've been holding off on this one for a while and I really want to watch it. Helldivers 2 official co-op and combat trailer. This came out like 4 days ago. Not that bad, but ever since it came out, I mean, this is like I'm really excited for this game. So I've been wanting to watch it, but holding off for this. So here we are, and we're going to watch it. So for anybody who doesn't know, I really love the original Helldivers. And if you don't know this either, that was a top-down, 4-player, cooperative, hardcore shooter. And now it's going third person, which is really interesting. And potentially could bring in new players. I know you weren't a huge fan of the twin stick shooter style, so this could possibly bring you into it.
Possible.
But yeah, I love the original game, and I'm okay with them changing it up. I love shooters, so I'm okay with that, as long as it maintains the essence of what made Helldivers so cool, which was the pacing, that you can shoot your own teammates, you have to coordinate moving and doing missions while also being defensive. As long as they can keep that kind of hardcore teamwork nature to it in a third-person way, I'll be happy. So I'm really hoping this gets me even more hyped as opposed to less hyped. I would hate to watch this and go, oh man, they really are fucking this up. But we will see. Thoughts before we go on this?
Not really, no.
All right, this is Helldivers 2 official co-op and combat trailer in 3, 2, 1, go. The budget really went up on this one.
Helldivers 2 is a tactical third-person cooperative action shooter. Hi, I'm Johan Pilestedt. I'm the CEO and creative director of Arrowhead. One thing that will be really familiar in Helldivers 2 for returning players is the stratagem system. For those of you that are new, this is the ace up your sleeve. It's a system that allows you to interface with the many elements of the Super Earth arsenal, such as the Super Earth Destroyer, the Eagle Fighter,
It is weird.
and the multitude of weapons and equipment
like
that you can
UI
call down
style
as you play the game.
And then
My favorite
powers and
stratagem
stuff like
in
that. It's also
Helldivers
familiar,
2
but the gameplay loop
is
is so different.
the Gatling Sentry.
Well, the gameplay loop looks the
killing
exact
machine
same, but the perspective is
unleash its
different.
devastating firepower into a swarm of enemies is truly a wondrous sight with this new third-person perspective.
I like
mission
the
you're playing
movement seems
is a
slow
big
still
part of
too, so it has the
choosing
same
your
pace.
strategies. My name is Michael Eriksson and I'm a game director at Arrowhead Game Studios. If you're facing off against a heavily armored foe, you want to bring specialized armor-penetrating weapons. But if you're blowing up a bug hive, make sure to bring orbital barrages or other highly explosive stratagems.
The armor
cool.
system that we've developed in the game is inspired by real firearms fired against armored targets. So this means that a shot at a shallow angle will get deflected and not penetrate the
Oh yeah,
intended
you can see him
target.
bouncing off.
When you choose your armor, make sure it fits your intended playstyle. If you want to play as a tank, pick a heavy armor with high resistance. I usually play with the light armor because of the increased mobility and decreased enemy detection range.
In Helldivers 2, death is cheap.
Oof.
You'll die to most
Josh
of
is gonna
everything.
kill us.
Even including your own friend's misplaced orbital bombardment.
Every time a Helldiver is reinforced, that's a new citizen, finally fulfilling the super Earth dream that they've fantasized about from early childhood.
Definitely a game you're
This
gonna
is
want
just
to
a
call out what you're
small
doing.
piece of what we have planned for Helldivers 2.
And we can't wait to hear about your experiences once this game launches later this year. Spread managed democracy.
All these like indie sequels coming out this year got me fucking pumped. Hell yeah. Mechs are back, baby. No hard date. Just later this year. All right. What'd you think?
I mean, really, my only complaint about the last game was I don't like that playstyle that much. So this does look more appealing, especially because I saw PC listed.
Oh yeah, dude. I would love to play this on PC.
So yeah, I think it'd be a nice one to pick up because I don't play a lot of. I don't have a lot of recent shooters. Outside of I played a little bit of I need to finish it, but Ghostwire. So and that's like super slow pace. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It looks neat. We'll see how busy I am when it comes out, but I am interested. I think.
Whenever it does come out, they
yeah.
didn't tell us. Yeah, between this and Remnant 2, you'll have some shooters.
Yeah, I definitely will play Remnant.
Same. Yeah, anything else? I love what I saw here. I'm really excited. Like I said, I love the original game. This looks like the original game, just with better graphics and third person. It has the same pace to it that the original game had, only in third person. So I like that because in a game where there is friendly fire, I think it's better to have people moving in a realistic manner than just running around really quickly and jumping all over the place because you have accidents more easily that way. This, I think it'll allow itself to feel a little bit more tactical, and you'll have that time and pace to, call things out and be able to see where someone's going before you throw something. And so I really like that. I think it's really interesting how, like, in the original game, you have your, like, lasers where you're aiming so you can tell where you're shooting, everyone's capes are moving and stuff like that. And in this, it's the exact same thing, just third person. They did a really good job translating it over. I like that they mentioned the stratagems. I hope they add more than they had in the last game, because the last game had plenty of them, but I always kind of felt like you play for a little bit, and it's a small little indie game, but you play for a little bit and you start to kind of see the end of where the content is going to be in terms of unlocks, and so you're just kind of playing for the experience, which is fun, but I'd love to see more unlockable content for sure. I'm glad they're also emphasizing friendly fires, still a big thing in this game, because that's one of the things that made the mayhem of the first game so enjoyable. Was when you worked as a team, it felt great because you were getting shit done. No one's getting downed. If something happened, you helped someone out and got them back up. But then you have these situations where you would have things drop down and land on one of your guys, or you throw an explosive, it would damage somebody. And those are things you obviously want to avoid. But, when they happen, you're like, honestly, it's frustrating, but it's also funny. So I'm glad they are maintaining the full spirit of the original game here. The gameplay looks good. I think the shooting looks good. I haven't obviously played it, so I don't know if it's tight feeling or not, but it looks like it's decent. It looks like a competent third-person shooter. And I thought that froze for a second. And I love all the callbacks to like at the very end showing the mech. The mechs are always a lot of fun when you first unlock them, because like you're like, oh shit, there's mechs in this game? That's kind of crazy, especially with the different enemy types. Also, they talked about ballistics and how they work against armored enemies, which I think is pretty cool. And they also talked about using the right stratagems for the right missions, which I love. A game where you actually have to strategize and think about your tactics before you go on a mission. I like games where you have to think. I'm down to just shoot stuff in games, but I'm much more engaged when I actually have to plan my tactic before going in, or improvise on the spot. And co-op, it's even more interesting. So hopefully they nail it. But overall, I'm really excited for this game. I can't wait to play it. I think it's gonna be a blast. Love the first one. Hope this one's even better. And with it being third person, I think they're gonna get more people to be able to play this than the original, because the original is a gem for sure, but the type of genre it is, mixed with it being kind of a more unforgiving cooperative shooter, is not as inviting to everyone as a third-person shooter would be. I think most people who are into shooters are down to play a third-person shooter. So let's hope it works out for them. But yeah, looks really cool. Can't wait to play it. Anything else? All right, let us know in the comments, what do you guys think of Helldivers 2 official co-op and combat trailer? What stood out to you? What looked good to you? What didn't look good to you? Maybe this isn't what you want. Maybe you like the original version of the game better. You like the isometric top-down view. Tell me what you think in that regard. What do you think about all the features that they talked about here? Do you think they're translating the original game to third-person good enough? Maybe even better? And what do you hope for when it comes to Helldivers 2? Let me know everything you're thinking about in the comments below when it comes to Helldivers 2. Next video we got is a little old. This came out like 2 weeks ago, but I never watched this, and I've been meaning to. So this is Payday 3, the first hands-on preview. I think this is a game we're both interested in. Both liked Payday 2 as long ago as that came out, and I think we're both ready for a Payday 3. And we both seemed pretty stoked about the original trailer they showed off during the Xbox presentation. Yeah. It was, I think, one of the highlights of that whole presentation, honestly. And so this is going to cover some of the stuff we can expect from the game itself. So I'm excited to find that out, because, I mean, I expect you're going to be doing heists and shooting stuff, but I want to know if there's any like new features we can look forward to, and if it's just looking like it's going to live up to the name that it has, and if it deserves that 3 or not. So that's where I'm coming from when it comes to that. You got anything you want to say before we watch this?
Well, we'll see if after it comes out, if all the people who have for years now in the Steam community page for Payday 2 want to always put down as dead game, dead game, dead game all the time, even though the game is very much still being updated. So
they supported Payday 2 fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much shit that they added to that game that I probably don't even have like 50% of all the content, because I stopped playing a long time ago. So and I assume they're going to do the same thing with this, unless it comes out and it's like a Torchlight 3 situation where no one likes it. But let's hope not. But yeah, ready? All right, this is Payday 3, first hands-on preview in 3, 2, 1, and go.
The Payday gang is back for Payday 3, and this time they're in New York City pulling off the most daring heists. The setting change up from Washington, D.C. to Payday 2 is supposed to be an enormous, living, breathing world that aims to add new layers to the gameplay experience. Dallas, Hoxton, Wolf, and Chains are on the returning cast roster, and the story is picking up where it left off. Our favorite heisters are coming back from retirement.
this is a story.
Guess so.
I got to play 2 heists during the preview, Capital Bank and Surface Art Gallery. Capital Bank was your pretty standard heist where you go in and try to grab all the cash you can, while also reaching your goal of infiltrating the larger vault and getting a bigger cash out. Surface Art Gallery, on the other hand, was an interesting twist on the heist system, with the goal being to steal some of the displayed art in the museum, Mission Impossible style. Capital Bank felt like a familiar return to the Payday 2 days. During the preview play period, I was teamed up with 2 devs and 1 other journalist. Dropping us into the game immediately was a bit overwhelming. For context, we were dropped into matches without playing the tutorial mode, so I'm sure this won't be as overwhelming to day 1 players, but there are definitely way more elements to Payday 3 that can get to be a lot to remember, especially if you're just going off what Payday 2 felt like. We attempted to try the quieter method of
This seems very similar to the
because of
bank in
confusion of
Payday
what the new
2.
heist phase we ended up triggering security and just going guns blazing. This was kind of the theme for the entire play session. Even though we did get a grasp of the new concepts and mechanics, the actual stealth play is extremely difficult and really punishing if you make the slightest mistake.
Sounds like
I'm
Payday
all for a
2.
challenge,
Yeah.
but it was unfortunate that we
Stealth
didn't
was
really get
rough.
to experience a proper stealth playthrough during my hour of hands-on time. The few times we got the furthest in stealth gameplay, it was really cool to find different key cards through pickpocketing guards or unlocking rooms to access safes that had documents containing info on
there's a
where
lot of
security
different little
breaches would
mechanics
visit us.
happening
The
there.
concepts of stealthing in this heist game that's all about high-octane action are really cool, but I worry that most people won't be able to experience that very much, since most people are used to just going guns blazing from the jump. Most players won't have the patience to move really slowly and deliberately to set up a stealth
Why are you
intro
making an
when
assumption
it
about
feels
people
like
and
you'll
what they're gonna
just
do?
eventually
Who
have to
cares?
go loud once the heist really swings into gear, because a single mistake from anyone will guarantee an immediate alert. Speaking of going loud, the Capitol Bank heist has you throwing
That's a cool
thermite
effect,
to
all the
breach
stuff
the vault
blowing out.
walls while fighting off waves of law enforcement who get increasingly beefier as time goes on. You start with fighting standard cops, then SWAT-like members who have heavier armor and riot shields, and then you'll battle a terrifying division of special ops returning from Payday 2 called the Cloakers. These guys got an upgrade in Payday 3, and they can mask themselves and go invisible and reappear wielding blades that can knock you on your ass with one hit. Once you do make your way into the vault, you actually have to take even more time to make sure you deactivate the security ink pods that will explode if you try to steal the cash under it without successfully deactivating them, rendering the money useless and uncollectible.
So they've added more
Once your team
steps.
has all
Yeah.
the
Which
cash
is
loaded
good.
up in their bags, you can make your way out to the streets and start your escape. The art gallery heist, meanwhile, was a lot of fun since it was a new environment and gave off an Ocean's 11 vibe. Stealthing here was pretty difficult too, since this map requires you to climb around if you want to find a quiet way into the art museum. The gameplay loop was similar to Capitol Bank, but instead of cash, you steal paintings or small statues, and you have to verify which piece of art is the one you're looking
Obviously,
for.
it's a little
for
more
instance, one of the
in-depth
objectives was to
than,
validate the real painting from fake copies by getting
Payday
a blue light
2,
tool
but,
to check for blood that
it
was
kinda-
only on the
it's
real
giving me that
paintings.
jewelry store
Once validated, you
vibe
cut through
where
the
you're,
glass on the display
you know,
like
grabbing
a
all the
true
jewelry.
art thief and make away with treasure. I enjoyed the gameplay and environment way more in the art gallery, and the actual museum has a few levels and exhibits you have to navigate through. Hilariously, you'll actually end up using the You Are Here maps in the levels a lot to figure out where to go, as if you're actually visiting a real museum. When things inevitably go sideways, negotiation is by far the most interesting part of Payday 3. You're able to actually negotiate with the police using your hostages trapped in that building with you. So you
Interesting.
have to manage the hostages while also raiding the bank
there was
or
a
museum
negotiation
for
timer in the
stealing
top left
from.
there
You can
for a
use
moment.
hostages as body shields since security won't shoot you if you're holding an innocent person, or you can choose to release a few hostages to buy you some more time for the heist. Overall, I'm pretty
I just
excited
walk
to
out
play
and shoot
Payday 3
people.
again, especially with the same friends I played Payday 2 with, and relive some old memories in a modern setting. Payday 3 is also going to be cross-platform and cross-progression, so you can
Cool.
play anywhere and with anyone you want. It's set to have quite a bit of post-launch content updates as well, like new characters,
Yeah,
heists,
sure.
weapons, and updated skills and challenges. So hopefully there's a good
And
flow of new
tons
stuff
of
to keep players
masks, I'm
invested.
sure.
Payday 2 had 20
Hopefully.
DLC packs after launch.
It's one of the
so
funnest things
it's
about
not a
Payday
huge
2 is all
worry.
the
For more on Payday 3,
shit you
don't
unlock.
miss the recent release date trailer, and of course, for everything else in the world of video games, head on over to IGN.
All right, we got a short but sweet little preview on all the things that they experienced there, the bank and a more stealthy mission. They talked about that stealthy mission like Payday 2 didn't have any missions like that. There was definitely a mission similar to that in Payday 2, but not to that depth. That's the biggest thing I took away from this is there's more interactivity that's not just shooting in this. Like in the original Payday 2, you would just go in the bank, initiate the heist basically, and then put the thing on the safe and have to wait it out while the cops are amping
Wave
up.
after wave.
Yeah. And then you have to drag the bags out, and that was a fun thing to do. I would still probably play that if this wasn't around the corner. But this seems like they're adding just more things you have to be involved with. I liked when they said that before things even kind of kicked off, they were finding key cards and stuff like that to access new sections and new ways to go through the building, which sounds interesting. And then even the small detail of before you take the money, you have to deactivate the ink things. Just adds another layer of objectives you have to do to kind of raise the tensions in the situation when you're trying to defend yourself and then get the stuff and get out of there and make sure everybody gets out with you. Even the museum heist one seemed like it had just a couple more layers of things to do. So I don't know what the extent of all that's going to be, but it does already seem like there's more going on. I also thought it was really interesting too. There's a negotiation system, and you can take people as shields, but also you can trade them
To buy time, yeah.
to buy time, which is another really interesting thing with a game like this, because you're gonna need systems to allow you to replay this over and over and over again until they add new maps, stuff like that. And so hopefully a lot of this is randomized. Hopefully a lot of this is dynamic to make every time you do this heist feel different, and you have different decisions and different routes to go about doing it. If they can nail that, I think this game's going to be really good. It's also really smart of them to be doing cross-play and cross-progression. I think every game should be doing that, but I think every co-op game should definitely be doing that if they can, because we are living in a time where a lot of people are doing it now, and it really sucks when you want to play a co-op game and someone's on console and you're on PC and they ask, oh, does that have cross-play? You look it up and it doesn't, because with other games offering it now. Yeah. 100%. With plenty of games doing it nowadays, it's just always super disappointing. And I also view that the same for versus games as well, any competitive games. But they're, in those cases, need to have a toggle, because I understand some people might not want to play against people on PC. And the growing talking point I've seen over the last 3 years of people saying that aim assist on console is unfair advantage, which I kind of understand that perspective a little bit, but I've grown up my whole life hearing people say mouse and keyboard is ridiculous versus a controller, and now the conversation has shifted. But I digress on that topic. Crossplay, it's a good thing that they're doing, and this is looking awesome. Also, last little note, the destructibility of the map. I don't know how far it goes, but there's a scene in there where an explosion happened in the hallway and pieces of the ceiling came flying out all over the place. And then as he walked up, there was a hole in the floor that they had burned through to drop the floor in to get to another room. And I'm really curious about that system, and if that's just like a predetermined thing you have to do as an objective, or if you'll be able to do that into any room, which would be really cool, because that would be a dynamic thing that would make every heist feel different and allow you different tactics. But yeah, those are my thoughts. Looks awesome. I definitely want to play it.
Yeah.
Got any thoughts?
I mean, you pretty much said it all. I do think it looks familiar, while also having a ton extra little steps to do, which is good. You kind of brought it up already, but variance is going to be important though for replayability. Mm-hmm. If it's just static, it's not going to be fun. But I don't think Payday 2 was, so I think that won't even be a concern. And then, just stuff to unlock really at the end of the day. And Payday 2 is pretty good about that. So I don't really have any concerns about it, other than if it has any launch woes, or just for some reason doesn't play as good as the second game. So,
yeah, I mean, it's looking like what it should look like at the very least, in terms of being a sequel to Payday. So, it's about as much as I could want. But the amount of interactive features they're adding is definitely upping the ante, which is exciting. So, yeah. So you're interested? You're gonna want to play it? All right, very cool. Same here. But let us know in the comments what you guys think of Payday 3, the first hands-on preview. Is this looking like the sequel to Payday 2 that you want, or is it not living up to that name? Maybe you don't have an affinity for Payday 2 and you didn't play it, or you just played it and you didn't like it. What are some features you would like to see them implement into this game to make it feel like a proper sequel? And what kind of missions do you want to see, and what kind of content are you hoping for? And do you think they'll support it the same as they supported Payday 2? I'm sure they will, unless the game doesn't do well. Let us know everything you're thinking in the comments below when it comes to Payday 3, the first hands-on preview. All right, now we have a showcase we're going to watch. I think this is about an hour long, so it's going to be a little bit of a sit. This is the ID at Xbox showcase presented by IGN. A lot of IGN videos in this Tasty Cast. And I believe this is all indie games in this showcase, but it's all being presented through Xbox. And I know Xbox has done a pretty good job at, since even the last console, trying to support indies on console, which I think is an admirable endeavor. I can't really say about what I'm hoping for from this because I have no idea what they're going to show. But I'm hoping to see a streamlined and smooth presentation that gets us from game to game. And I hope to see some games that maybe I forgot are coming out and get reminded that they are coming out. And I hope to see some brand new games that will be exciting for me to want to play because I love indie games. I love gaming in general. But always excited to see what indies bring to the table because we live in a time where the bigger ideas in gaming come from indie games until they get big enough and then the AAA goes, hey, we can refine that and make it look really good. So
not work day one.
Yeah, exactly, which is fucking crazy. And I always think back to BattleBit Remastered and just what they're able to do with 3 people, and it's just fucking crazy. So, yeah. Anything you want to say, or you pretty much ditto on that?
Pretty much ditto, yeah.
Yeah, because I have no idea what they're going to show here. So, yeah. We should get into it though, because it's an hour long, I believe. Mm-hmm. And this is the ID at Xbox Showcase in 3, 2, 1, and go. If you're listening to this on iTunes or wherever you're at, hopefully there'll be dialogue, because otherwise this might not be that great for you guys. Skip forward if you feel like you just want to hear us reading comments.
Was that a trailer?
I think it was a teaser.
Okay.
The monolith.
Yeah, I was confused there.
Since the time before written history. Its origin, a mystery. Its power, unrivaled. 1,000 years after a mass extinction ravaged civilization, the world of Gleeza is in peril once again, as dark forces, revenants from a forgotten time, come to claim that power. But hope is not lost. A hero will rise and take arms against the darkness and uncover the
with a thick sword.
to
Jesus.
save the future.
True.
In the darkness, there is light.
Looks like some kind of lock-on third-person action game with some interesting wall magic.
Well, jutsus.
Yeah.
The fate of a world awaits.
Monolith Requiem of the Ancients.
That looks alright.
It looks okay. Yeah. I would try it, but no hype.
Hello and welcome to the 10th annual ID at Xbox Showcase.
For the next hour, we'll be checking out the next generation of incredible and exciting indie games coming to Xbox and PC.
Now, for 10 years, ID at Xbox has empowered over 5,000 independent developers to self-publish their very own games.
I cannot wait to find out what games we get to see today. This showcase is absolutely jam-packed.
Well then, let's get into it. Here's a look at some incredible indies courtesy of ID at Xbox.
This is the Hellboy, yeah.
I forgot all about this.
It's for something based off a comic. It really doesn't look like it's got a budget. I mean, it's an indie game. It's just weird. Hellboy's known.
Claim me and break the contract.
I just want to stop this place from breaking my place.
And I say, thou shalt go no further.
Oh, brother, have it your way.
Hellboy Web of Word. I don't have any interest in it, honestly. I do I do appreciate that it looks like the comic, though.
Yeah, it didn't really do anything for me either.
Yeah. That ship looks familiar. It almost looks like I bought it in early access, and it was really cool. It might be it. I just don't remember flying on planets. Fuck. Everspace 2? Is that in console? Or? I think it is, because I remember the when people talk, their pictures would show up of that art style. A lot of games have people show up when they talk. Lost myself. Yep. Cool. I thought that came out on console already.
Huh.
Everspace 2 was cool when I played it early access. It's not a flight sim. It's more arcadey, but it's just fun.
Is this yeah. I can't remember the name, but I think they have a demo out.
I like the style.
Oh,
that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely like really inspired by Chrono.
For sure. It looks modern. This looks great.
Yeah. Sea of Clouds, is that what it's called?
I don't know. I really like what I'm seeing here, though.
Yeah, I
love that Xbox is showing off a game like this.
Yeah, I have the demo downloaded. I just haven't tried it yet.
That's cool. That on the spot you get to pick stuff like that. I want to play this.
I'll say it's beautiful, man.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome looking.
Sea of Stars, that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah,
that game looks
that
dope.
looks really good, yeah. Well, like, a lot of these games will have art styles. I'm like, oh, it's really cool. But then, like, gameplay-wise, I'm like, yeah, I can wait on that. But that actually looked like a lot of fun. Did it say only Xbox?
It's on Steam.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
They won't advertise the other platforms. I think I actually heard something about that during the Xbox showcase last time.
Hackers like us, most people think we don't exist. Intuitive hacking without all the invasive cybernetics. They think we're science fiction, and that suits us just fine.
Yeah, it's not my kind of game.
I scour encrypted information, drawing on people's most intimate emotions, intuiting their private thoughts, and disguising myself within their stolen data. To the few who know we exist, Icona hackers are malicious.
I don't even mind story games,
but
like
the system of lies looms over
screenshots, basically.
that
are just have panning cameras and stuff. That's really dope for me.
No communication until they say so. But it's not the terrorist that scares me. Something unsettling is happening, and my best friend Rebecca disappeared right into the middle of it all.
Later, Becca.
Rebecca.
Yeah, dude. Fucking sucks to suck.
Know that I'm coming for you, no matter what. We'll find the truth together.
Solace State.
That is rough to read. Jesus.
It's rough to watch, dude. Yeah, it's not for me. Somebody will like it.
Oh, sure.
Good showcase so far, though. Seen some interesting stuff. Is this Vector Man? Anybody remember Vector Man?
Oh, yeah.
You guys remember Vector Man?
I remember it lagging.
Vector Man 2? Yeah, dude, that game was a little too advanced.
Those are good visual effects, actually.
Yeah, everything looks good except for I fucking hate the way the main character looks. Okay, that's a little more interesting. Huh.
Huh. Yeah, the visual style is really neat. I don't know if the gameplay loop's my thing, but give them props for making it look different.
Yeah.
Are those skill trees? Oh, that's
Looks like it.
That's creative. I kind of like the phase-ins during moments of actual like impact and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Worldless.
Huh.
Yeah, it looks interesting. It's got some systems I think look pretty interesting. I think the animation and the visual style were neat. The main character in certain forms wasn't that interesting looking.
Yeah, really my only problem with it looks like a Metroidvania style game.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I don't play those. So,
Yeah.
but visually, it looked pretty cool. I'd watch someone if they were streaming it.
And if minimalist action platformers
I don't know
with
if I'd
Warrior
play it.
Speed, stick around after the show today, because we'll be playing Worldless, the 2D adventure platformer with turn-based combat built by No Name Studios in Barcelona.
Turn-based
ID at Xbox is
Yeah, they said that in the trailer. It had a action like turn-based combat system. And I was like, how the fuck's that work?
Since 2013, ID at Xbox partners have released over 3,000 games.
I'm gonna
and
laugh if
nearly
turn-based
600
combat
have
makes
been made
combat.
available via Game Pass.
Yeah, we'll
And
see.
there's even more in the works. Let's take a look at some
People
indie
review
games coming your
bombing
way.
Final Fantasy 16 because of that.
Even though there hasn't been a turn-based Final Fantasy in how long?
Yeah, that conversation is old. Preferences aside, of course.
Yeah.
You know, you can think what you want, but people being upset about it now, I'm like, you're late. Is that one game?
I so hoped you'd try entering the castle this way.
Is that 80s one?
It's been
Yeah, this one
far
looked
too
pretty
long
fun.
Since I've had living playthings.
Come down and face us, Hexstar.
I'm too young for this art style to do anything for me, but the gameplay I remember being kind of interesting looking. It says in-game animation.
I'm also just barely too young for it.
Yeah.
And I do mean barely.
Yeah. I am impressed with the way it looks, though. Like, it does look like that style specifically.
Oh yeah, no, huge props on that. Kind of gives me, what's that? Dragon's Lair, is that what it's called? Had that art style too. Of course, that was an old game, so.
Looks cool.
Yeah. Let me bring up Brachiosaurus. Oh shit, Jackbox 10?
Where's 9? Did I...
You just didn't buy it yet.
For the next 60 seconds, focus on my voice.
That's the best part about Jackbox.
We gotta do a Jackbox community
Is
stream.
that the old games are still always still good too.
Yeah, I love them.
Is this also part of Jackbox 10?
Do I have 9 or 8?
A master mentalist, free your psychic being
I need to
from
buy
your
9 and 10 and
then
stream those 3.
into believing you are a completely different person,
I
or
watched
even
someone
an
play
inanimate object.
one of them, the one that has
You will
TKO in
all
it.
be hypnotized to
I
be the
love
same
TKO.
thing.
That game's
Oh,
awesome.
no.
I don't remember which one that
That's
is.
one of me. Drawings and phrases and put them on t-shirts.
Oh, yeah.
And then you could buy the shirts.
Silly
Yeah.
questions, of course. Based on everyone's answers, I'll give you an opportunity to find your group mates and reject those who feel like they don't quite belong. Sounds fun, doesn't it? Hypnotorious is part of the Jackbox Party Pack 10, coming this fall.
Shit.
Those games are genius, dude.
Yeah. They're good. That guy looks like somebody named Bunk.
That is such an old word.
That dude's Bunk.
What the hell is this?
Fucking pick things up, apparently.
Uh-huh.
Reminds me of like a Dreamcast game.
I think you're giving it too much credit.
Where do you know these people? What do you do?
Complete tasks. It's literally what the gameplay loop looks like. Which sadly is not appealing to me, but this trailer is not good.
We were sitting out on the balcony in the sun like we used to, legs dangling off the edge. Cars going by on the street. Our upstairs neighbor must have had a window open. I could hear her crying. Someone's dog, howling through lungs filled with plastic. But we both know where this leads.
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. All I took away from that is there's a guy named Bunk.
Yeah, true. And you work.
That kid's Bunk.
It's Trek Yomi, dude. Damn, she carrying that bale of hay like it was nothing. This will be a close game.
If it comes out on PlayStation, but yeah.
Won't know in this showcase. They're told not to put anything else on them. Don't touch me.
So it's just like an adventure game?
Looks like. Oh, interesting. That's how they made the sprites.
Scarlet Deer Inn. I can appreciate it, but it did nothing for me. It's not my kind of game.
Same.
Available today.
Is that an axolotl?
I don't know.
Dang. Getting Devolver vibes off this thing.
Yeah.
What was I in Parasite or something like that?
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of that. It's funny because like the characters are so bland looking, but the environments look great.
It's interesting.
Go ahead.
I was just saying it's just interesting because the characters have like this like almost like the ragdolling appearance going on.
The combat's confusing because there's so much shit flying around. I don't even know what's happening. Rain World Downpour out now. It looked interesting. I don't know if it's something I'm going my way to play, but I would try it out.
Oh hey, you're watching the 10th annual ID at Xbox Showcase. You just saw brand new trailers for Myth Force, Jackbox Party Pack 10, Roman Sands, Scarlet Deer Inn, and Rain World Downpour.
Now, you won't have to wait long to play those games, but you especially won't have to wait long to play Rain World Downpour, and that's because it's available today, right after the stream. Surprise!
All right, let's keep things moving. The next game needs no introduction. That's because it's the smash hit Vampire Survivors, and it's
IGN fell off a long time ago, but they really fell off.
Missed the announcement trailer? Let's check it out again right now.
Be the bullet hell with your besties.
Now this is supposed to be couch co-op. But is there online?
Team up to face
Is that 3 people?
I think it's 4 player.
That seems like cheating.
Lifelong friendships.
I'm sure they adjust the enemies for it.
Play the whole Vampire Survivor saga in couch co-op starting August 17th. Vampire Survivors cannot be held responsible for any loss of friendship that may occur. Terms, conditions, and garlic apply.
Is it fucking frustrating to play with people? Why would you lose friendships over it?
You just saw the brand new co-op mode coming to the immensely popular and super fun Vampire Survivors.
You know, I was actually wondering if it was even physically possible to fit one more character on the screen during a very intense round of Vampire Survivors.
You know, luckily, you'll have your questions answered very soon. That's because we're playing some co-op Vampire Survivors right here on the show in just a little bit.
Woo, super excited for it. Now, we've got to take a very quick break, but stick around because we've got tons more games to show you right here.
They all remind me of the old days of like Ubisoft, where like the presentations always had like actors who like never played a video game before. Are like, hey, throw the ball to me. I'm gonna throw it to you. I'm gonna catch it. Here it comes.
The future starts now.
My problem with a lot of group presentations is it's just a bunch of people vying for attention to try to get more of it than the person next one.
If you can't be there in person,
Well, definitely feels like that there.
the next best thing.
It's gonna be great.
Join us for first looks and new trailers from the most anticipated movies, shows, games, and
Who's the
plenty of
most
comics,
enthusiastic?
collectibles, cosplay, and more along the way.
We'll try to follow along the best we can and relay that information to you.
And it all starts July 21st.
That fucking what's his face? He's still there.
Who?
The bald dude.
Oh, fucking Brian Altano.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Does
that
he-
guy's never gonna leave
Does he
there.
just own IGN now?
No, he sleeps in the closet. He lives
The
there.
Cinefix Top 100. A list so secretive even we don't know what movies are on it or where they rank.
What do you mean you don't know?
Each episode will reveal one of the
Okay,
movies.
this is enough of a commercial for IGN. I
Talk
don't
about
care.
why it belongs and finally find out where it ranks.
Are you not entertained?
Are any of the movies we
Welcome back to the 2023 ID at Xbox Showcase. Let's get back to the games. Here are some weird, crazy, bold, and scary games coming soon to Xbox
Does he think
and
he's
PC.
doing is he auditioning for fucking Blue's Clues? He looks like he's fucking talking to children.
Alright guys, here's the thing. Video games.
It's a game you love.
Dude, I am so fucking happy I never have to play the game again. that was one of behind the scenes a bit here when it comes to Plus Club and the games that we play as an obligation, because it's just kind of fun to challenge ourselves to play all these games, and most of the time I can find enjoyment out of almost anything. That game felt like a fucking chore for me to play it. That's so rare for me to feel like I was like, I don't want to keep playing this, but I was like, I have to, because I need to be able to talk about it at least a little bit. Even sports games, I typically don't feel that way about.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, I don't play games like this. What's this like? But that game was like, the combat is fucking not fun.
18 years. 18 years of agony and torment, waiting for the prophecy to be fulfilled.
Wasn't Versus Evil earlier in the
Yeah,
trailer?
a couple things, yeah.
Who are they?
Investor.
Now, she has him in her grasp.
Oh, this is not for me.
Kiriyama Oka.
Tried to escape, but the nightmare wouldn't end. I watched her sacrifice.
Guy just out in a
her
windstorm
whole
with a
family
gun.
just to get what she wanted. He doesn't even know the danger he's in. But he's the only one who can stop her and end this. Daniel, I'm sorry.
This is an indie game. It's gonna be a fucking no from me.
But the music.
Well, I don't know how much of the music he even fucking did, or maybe he just played guitar on one song. They didn't say.
True.
I have a hard time thinking, unless he was just looking for some money, that he made a whole fucking score for that. A game about living alone?
Create a roommate? Don't touch that. What's wrong with you?
I don't want to touch anything in this game. I give him credit for making a weird game with a weird visual style, but that game seems like it'd be a great game to play if you want to go to bed. Like, I need to wind down before I go to sleep. I'm gonna play this game where everything just has a satisfying.
I mean, I can appreciate a chill game from time to time.
Sure, but those chill games put me right the fuck to sleep.
Can't count on no one around here.
I played this.
On yourselves.
I typically like playing survivors at games like this, but I like playing the killers more.
That's it. Just a little farther. I have to make it.
She fucking.
Now you just saw Action Verge 2.
I think
Stray
Nick Cage
Souls,
came out
Birth,
finally in was it Dead by Daylight or whatever? I haven't seen the gameplay of it yet.
Yeah, Cody was telling me a little bit about him, but yeah, I want to check it out.
I heard Cody plays that game.
And good news, Action Verge 2 is available on Xbox today. Finally. Now.
Yeah,
time for us
enjoy.
to check out some
Have
more
fun with it,
games.
guys.
Let's roll right into it.
Happy for you. I can feel the pain I felt.
What if my grandma lives in a big city?
Okay.
She would wake up early and drink her morning herbal tea in a cozy cafe. Then she would have a slow stroll downtown and take a cable car to the bustling port market for her weekly shopping.
Okay.
Grandma Simulator 2023.
I can imagine her there.
Is that the
dressed
one where
in
you
a
try
hat
to
and
fight
coat,
the baby?
carrying her heavy basket.
Fucking.
Did you see that game?
No.
She chatted with her friends in the afternoons. while
I was
picking
gonna
up
say,
her
is there a
pension
game where
at
you
the
fight a
post
baby?
office.
Yeah, it's a baby versus grandma.
Gotta look up that game.
That seems a little far-fetched. Maybe she lives somewhere far, far away. Her village could be tucked away between huge rocky mountains that shield it from the howling winds. Her house might be a small one close to the town center, or a large
Saw
one
on
in the
TikTok a
suburbs.
fucking mod for Resident Evil Village,
On her walks through the snowy forest to the
where
icy
Chris
shore,
Redfield
she
just
would
has
be
a
able to see
giant
my
baby
island
head,
on the other side of the
like
ocean.
that's like fully like mocapped, and its eyes are kind of like vacant, staring in slightly different
That's way too
directions, and it's
cold.
fucking disturbing.
I can totally picture her living in a hot and sunny place.
He's got things about his grandma a
Probably in
lot.
an old town with cute bridges over the channels and houses that are
Is
so
this
bright they
a
hurt your
town
eyes in the sun.
building game? Is that what this is?
She'd walk through the narrow
They haven't
paved
even
streets
even
to the
implied
bazaar where all the merchants would greet her.
that all we've seen so far is locations that his grandma might have went to or
As the sun
would have
sets,
liked.
she'd chill on the beach, sitting in her chaise longue, sipping fresh juice. But, like, those kinds of places are usually only for vacations. Anyway, I'll find out soon enough. Now, I'd better hurry and catch my boat.
Oh yeah, dude, build up those fucking saws. Let's go.
For a boat ride.
What the hell's going on?
I don't know.
What dream?
That was an awful trailer.
Horrible fucking trailer.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try and judge it based off the merits of it being an indie game, but that trailer wasted my time showing fucking locations, and then a guy on a fucking boat. Oh yeah, dude, let's go. It's probably Overwatch.
I think this is a gotcha game coming out.
Looks like an Overwatch gotcha game. How's Overwatch 2 going? I haven't heard anything about that in a long time.
Doing typical Blizzard stuff. Comes out with praise and then people bitch later.
I also heard, and I don't know if this is real, so I'm not trying to say this be inflammatory, but I heard that most streamers have dropped out of Diablo 4, they're not playing anymore, and I hear a lot of people are not playing anymore because there's nothing to do. Which wouldn't be surprising to me. Game's high quality, but when I played it in the beta, I got the sense of this is what the game's going to offer, and that's about it.
Yeah.
So, wasn't surprised to hear that, but I also hear other people saying it's like amazing. So, also another typical thing in Blizzard games.
This is not the game I was thinking of, but
yeah. Sorry, I talked over that video for anybody who's particular about that. I wasn't interested in that. Looked like a below average.
I don't apologize to those people. If you want to watch the video, go watch it yourself.
I'm being sarcastic. It looked like a below average generic shooter.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude.
Dude, just put the pizza on his forehead. What's wrong with you? This is
Stumble Guys.
It's like Fall Guys, except for they stumble.
It better not be.
It is.
Holy shit.
Shameless.
You called it Stumble
Fucking
Guys?
shameless.
I mean, that's kind of sick. Is Fall Guys not on Xbox?
It is.
This one have their... Damn, dude, they got racing and shooting in this? It looks like shit, visually. But, if it's got cool... Are people already playing this? How do they know millions? This looks horrible graphically, but I like the variety of modes.
I'm just thoroughly impressed that they named it that.
They should have started out that trailer fucking having someone spit on Fall Guys. Because that was just straight up just like, yeah, fuck you.
It really stuck out as a precursor of everything that games would be.
Karateka.
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 It was the
This
most
advertisement
movie-like
feels old.
experience
It's
I'd ever had
crazy.
in a video game.
Love
Is it real?
So good.
I didn't know who Jordan Mechner was, but I wanted to be like Jordan Mechner.
I was in college. We came home on vacation with this new project that was starting. And we were taking karate lessons.
The characters were not little sets of pixels. They, in fact, were fully formed individuals. They had personalities.
Rotoscoping is literally tracing each frame to get a frame of animation.
The aesthetic and the motion was really unusual for the time.
I knew how important music was to tell a story, but I wasn't a musician. So I turned to my dad.
I said, well, why not have a series of beeps that are tuned to notes?
I don't know if this is an actual...
Yeah.
Okay. If it's a remaster, I guess it was real.
Visuals mattered. That full motion mattered.
I didn't know if they're pulling a fucking Devolver where like they're pretending
Yeah,
there's like this
right.
game. Because that shit was fucking... That I felt like that was a whole history of gaming that I just didn't experience. But this game, I've never even heard of this. Must be too young. I hate that name.
Look how old the game is, dude.
You just gotta look at Dreamers, Second Wave, Stumble Guys, and Karateka.
Okay, I absolutely was not expecting Karateka to show up today.
Me neither. Now, we've actually shown
I
you
absolutely
a ton of
wasn't
cool games today, but in a
expecting
bit,
someone
we're
to
actually
just
playing
make
some of them
Fall Guys
right after
too.
this quick break, so stick around.
True. No one's gonna mention Stumble Guys.
I did for a brief second.
No one's gonna be like, "Hey, that game's strip ripping off another game."
Get a game-changing connection
But if they
today.
do it better, then
Faster,
fuck
more
it.
reliable
Yeah.
tomorrow. The future starts now.
We're doing this again now. We're doing this again now.
This one feels quicker than the last one.
Is this over?
I think it might be.
Facing fans.
The MCU, that multiversal mess.
No one cares.
Co-op is being added to Vampire Survivors on August 17th for free. All right, so with me today we have Akeem.
Was that the end?
That was the end.
Jeffrey Vega.
Okay.
I'm not interested in watching these dudes play games, so.
Yeah, that IGN trying to be like having like personalities like YouTubers or whatever just doesn't fucking, no one cares. All right, what do we think?
So pacing wise, I appreciate that they definitely took some notes from other conferences basically, and just kind of kept it mostly about the games with some small intermissions, even though they still did the very typical Xbox and Ubisoft thing of having some dorky fucking moments.
That was people from IGN.
Wow. Okay. Well, whoever
They're
I'm
to
pointing
blame
the finger
too.
at here. That being said, it was a very large showcase of games, which was great. You know, obviously, I'm not interested in all of them, but I did get to see a couple things in there that I wasn't necessarily keeping my eye on. And I always kind of appreciate when they do indie showcases because, like you guys said before, a lot of the ideas, you know, original ideas and experimental stuff comes out of indie games. So it's also kind of hard to tell sometimes by just looking because, you know, without playing some of these games, yeah, they could end up being crazy. I mean, if you would have shown me Vampire Survivors before I played it, I'd be like, no chance that game's good. So, And I played it. I was like, oh no, this game is addictive as all hell. Yeah. So, hit or miss sometimes, but there's that versus evil thing again. Yeah, I'm trying to remember what stood out to me, but I'm kind of drawing a blank because I was too busy being surprised by how that ended. And
This
that
stood out to you.
Oh, it's Sea of Stars. Yeah, that game looks amazing.
If it loads, there it goes. Yeah, this is probably the highlight for me. Was this game?
Yeah, it's just super crafted.
Yeah, this looks great.
Also, yeah, the composer from Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross, all about that. So,
see, yeah, this is a good mix of an indie game that looks good with a composer that's respected, who's making something for a cool project, as opposed to that fucking abomination of a third-person roll-around shooter that had something to do with the Yamaoka. I don't know what he did, but it's the exact opposite of this.
Yeah,
because this looks really good.
Yeah, that pixel art is so smooth.
Yeah, the animation's really good, and even like the environments and combat, everything about this looked really cool. And even this small little thing I thought was kind of neat. When you level up, you just pick. It gives you choice on how you want to build your character. That's like right up my alley. It's something.
I say between this and like the Super Mario RPG remake, some pretty cool like old school vibe RPGs coming out. So.
Yeah,
I'm pretty excited about that. Yeah, what else? I'm definitely not super excited for Stumble Guys. I'm baffled.
I want to check that out.
Holy crap. That trailer was so...
This shit was weird. This Roman, wherever the hell it's called.
Yeah.
I don't...
There were some really weird trailers in the showcase.
Some pretty... I think it's my favorite thing about the showcase is there was games I want to play. There's games that I don't want to play at all. There was games that I can appreciate, but it's not for me. And then there's games where I'm like, you just fucking insulted me with your trailer. I really got like a really good like buffet of emotion from this.
Good way to put it.
It's really fucking weird. Like I felt a lot in this short amount of time, but definitely was entertained the whole time. I think the worst part of this whole presentation for me was IGN's advertisements, which makes sense. They're the ones presenting it, so you know they're gonna do what they're gonna do. But that was like the worst part. And then presenters were fucking awful. But the variety of games was decent. I mean, they all definitely felt indie in varying degrees. We got a lot of like impressively high budget or high quality indie games, and then we got some lower quality visually indie games that felt a little more indie to different degrees. That was kind of nice to see. And though because they're indie, they all have their own. They're all very like individual feeling. They'll feel like somebody's like an individual, maybe 3 or 4 people's idea, which is always a fun part of indie.
Versus something that's kind of like a hive mind creation.
There was a meeting where a bunch of people go like, how do we make a lot of money? Okay, what are we bringing back? Or what's our biggest competitor? Okay, let's make it like that. So what do you think of I almost said Fall Guys. Fucking Vampire Survivors 4-player co-op? Are you interested in doing that?
I don't think that sounds that appealing to me, to be honest.
I think it sounds awesome. I would want to play it still single player because I think the game's just like fun, addicting, and just easy to play. But the idea of playing couch co-op, depending on how it works, I don't know how leveling's going to work and shit, but it could be a lot of fun, especially because it was a game that I literally, when I first bought it, me, Josh, and Sarah sat around and took turns playing it while watching, which is really weird. But it was like interesting enough that we're like, oh, do this or try that, like make this different build or whatever. And if you could do that with friends, play all together, definitely sounds.
I just think it's hard for me because like Vampire Survivors, though I really like. I tend to prefer HoloCure out of all of the like auto shooter type games that I've played, just because it feels more. I don't know how to word it. More gamey. So, and then they keep updating it and adding more and more stuff to it as well. So,
gotcha.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd probably want to try it real quick, but I don't know if that's the way I'd want to play it though.
Yeah,
Definitely kind of more of a zenning out experience than it is a something I'm like necessarily trying to play all the time, and especially like I never even humored co-op with that game. So
when I first played it, I wanted co-op, so I'm definitely interested in playing it. I hope there will be online co-op though. I appreciate couch co-op because I always go, "Oh, it'd be cool if you could play it split screen or whatever." But most people are playing across the internet nowadays, so hopefully that will be an option, or at the very least you could do some kind of like screen share thing or something, possibly. I don't know, but I definitely will be trying it out when I get a chance because I want to see how they do it. This game is so blatant, it's almost impressive. Stumble Guys, right?
Stumble, yeah.
And it's got Nerf branded on there and Hot Wheels.
Yeah.
Which I think are both are they Hasbro?
Probably.
I don't know. But I found that kind of crazy that they're really, like, they call it Stumble Guys. It's got main brands, and they're advertising Xbox. This thing's like shameless as fuck. And if the game's fun, then, I'm almost impressed by that. So I would definitely try this if it's on PC because I thought Fall Guys was fun, even though it does seem a bit insulting to them. At the same time, I always say, if you can take someone's idea and make it better, it's better for the consumer. Anytime someone says someone ripped something off when it comes to genres, I always think back to like, man, it'd be crazy if they just stopped at Wolfenstein and you never got Doom and Quake, and then you never got GoldenEye and Halo, and it's got to grow. So it's just weird that they were just like Stumble Guys. They didn't think of something else. So this karate game was an interesting thing to discover via this indie showcase. I don't feel familiar with this game at all. So, and that so many people have so much to say about this guy is slightly interesting, but at the same time, the game might be out of my age range possibly. So not a whole lot of interest there. But yeah, definitely a lot of games here that I thought were interesting. A lot of games that I can appreciate and will respectfully pass on because there's a lot of like Metroidvania style platformer type games and adventure games. Those aren't really my speed typically. So, but I appreciate the variety there. The biggest standout though, this game looks kind of neat too. I forgot what this is called, but at the same time, it looks a little basic. So I don't know if I'd go out of my way to play it, but definitely. Could be cool. Hellboy, man, that game just does fucking nothing for me. Every time I see it, it doesn't look good graphically. Story-wise, it doesn't seem like they're really doing a whole lot, like to really show it off in the trailer in a way that's like compelling. And gameplay-wise, it's just vacant. It's just like cutscenes, and then every once in a while he's like punching shit, and it's like, show your game off. Like, are you embarrassed? Like, why aren't we seeing much of it every time we see this game? So it's indie, I get it, but you gotta sell it, and you're not gonna sell it just by. Some people might buy it based off the name, but I think the vast majority of people are not like clamoring for a Hellboy comic game.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to sell it differently. Shout out to Everspace 2. I played this in early access. It was a lot of fun then. I'm sure it's much better now. So this coming out to console is really cool to see, and this makes me want to play it again. So, because when I played it, you can only get so far, and it's like game's unfinished. But it's a really fun arcadey space shooter that had loot and stuff that you can build your ships up with. So definitely check this out if that sounds appealing to you. And I appreciated this game a lot because it's not a sim, and I love the Sims, but not the Sims, but space Sims. But it's nice to just play like a just fun shooter in space. They don't all have to be 10 trillion planets with fucking endless spot. Like, it's just like,
I actually kind of like a sweet spot in the middle. I feel the same way about racing games though. I don't really like full on Sims, but I also can't just do pure arcade either. I like a good blend. It's the same with like space combat games. Like, I appreciate something like what was that game, XCOM?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't have the patience or the time to like commit to something like that. Not XCOM.
Oh god,
X something.
Yeah, I can't remember. Or Elite Dangerous.
That is one of them. Yeah, there's another one that starts with an X. I can't remember what it's called now.
Yeah,
but,
I don't know. Yeah, because I was thinking XCOM, like the tactical
yeah.
game. I was
I misspoke.
Yeah.
Though that game might as well be a sim too.
Yeah. Frustration sim.
Yeah, I don't know. I have very fond memories of playing like Freelancer, like, years and years ago at this point. And that was like part sim, part like the combat was super arcadey, but like the experience was very sim like, and I kind of
Sure.
like that.
Yeah, it was a cool mix that took me years to appreciate. Because I remember when it first came out, I was like, I'm not into this. Then this game we keep seeing looks interesting to me. I'm impressed with the visuals, even though it doesn't do much for me in that regard. But the gameplay looks pretty fun. I forgot what it's called. Something Myth Force, I think it's called. And then Jackbox 10. I didn't know 9 came out, so I need to catch up, and we'll need to do a stream soon to catch up with those, and you guys can play with us. I have all the Jackboxes up until 8, I believe. So I even bought them on PlayStation too. So like I bought Jackbox a lot. But yeah, not to draw this out too much longer. It was a good presentation in terms of the game showed. I appreciate that. The IGN aspect of it, I did not like at all. I thought it was really annoying and cheesy. And like you said, just a bunch of people vying for attention. It's fucking dorky. But the games, good variety. Definitely stuff I want to play. Definitely stuff I don't want to play. And everywhere in between. And if I were to grade this presentation, I would give it a... I think I'm feeling a C+. Going pretty low just because the presentation itself had some low points in terms of the presenters and stuff, and then a lot of the games kind of were making me fall asleep. But there's some big hitters there. I'll raise that up. I'm gonna go B-, because there's definitely games here I want to play, but a lot of them mostly curious that. What's going on in the indie scene, but not really games for me. But overall, decent presentation with some really dumb advertisements and presenters.
Yeah, I agree with the B- for sure.
Yeah,
when you said C+ at first, I was like, oh, that's kind of harsh. We've watched way worse presentations.
Yeah, I thought about. I was just thinking about the IGN shit. That shit really bothered me. But yeah,
and without it, it'd probably be higher.
Yeah.
I think B- is perfectly fair because it. Pacing wise was pretty good, outside of like interests, obviously, which you watch something you're not interested in, you're gonna time's gonna start being noticeable again. But for the most part, they just kind of went boom 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 boom, which is pretty much what I want to see when it comes to a game showcase.
There's a couple trailers that felt insulting a bit, but in a funny way.
Sure, and those on those companies for making bad trailers, obviously.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like we always complain about when they announce a game and like the trailer is a concept of a game and not the game itself. I'm like, too early. Like you should have waited. So I want to see gameplay, and we saw, I would say, a lot of gameplay outside of weird grandma adventure and then crazy music in a boat. But yeah, overall it's fine. B-.
Oh, you went B- as well. All right, fair enough. Yeah, that C+, I was like just thinking about the negatives mostly, and I was like, wait, there's shit there that was actually really good, and even a lot of the stuff that I wasn't interested in was still interesting to see. So yeah, B- is I think fair. Anything else?
Nope.
All right, let us know in the comments what game stood out to you on this ID at Xbox Showcase.
And why was it Sea of Stars?
Why was it Sea of Stars? What else looked cool? What do you guys think about Stumble, guys? Are you going to check that out? And what indie games looked cool to you? And which ones didn't look cool to you? Is there anything that looked bad to you? And yeah, is there any other indie games that you're looking forward to that was not on the showcase? Let us know everything you're thinking about in the comments below when it comes to ID at Xbox Showcase and indie games in general. All right, it's that time where we reflect on past episodes and read your comments and reply to them. If you want your comment to be read for sure, type in hashtag AskTLJ in your comment. It makes it easy for me to find your comments, and I'll prioritize them. Otherwise, I read at random. And we got 2 episodes that we did a little bit ago. The first one was us reviewing Jurassic World Evolution 2 at Trek to Yomi and NBA 2K23. That was Plus Club for June. And we got a comment from Jeremy. I always have a problem with your last name, but it's good to hear from you again. saying, yo, I've been always super hyped for Jurassic World Evolution 2, but never take the time to play. You guys make me really want to play it. Just download the game. I'll play it next after I finish Final Fantasy 16. And what's up with all the hatred from your Starfield video? We'll talk about that. Well, I love the video and also so hyped for this game too. I send you all the love from Canada. Thank you for all the love from Canada. It's better than the smoke you sent us down that one time. But it's good to hear from you. Always a pleasure. Glad you're doing good, and I'm glad to hear that you're playing Final Fantasy 16 and potentially going to play Jurassic World Evolution 2, which I'm surprised you haven't played because I knew you were a huge fucking proponent of the original Jurassic World Evolution that I think we played on the channel because of you. Was that a community pick game? I feel like it was.
I don't remember.
I feel like you voted for that. That was a while ago. So we played that because of you, probably, unless we played on Plus Club. I don't remember that. I don't think we played on console. But yeah, and then the Starfield thing has been interesting over there. That video got way more views than I expected it to get. Last time I checked, it was like 10,000 views. I think it's much more than that now. But
wild.
But a lot of people there having productive conversations about Starfield, which has been great to see. And then the one video of all the videos we did stream-wise, we had audio issues in that one. And some people were upset by that, but also upset that either they couldn't hear us talking in the video, which we had audio issues, or they're upset they were talking in the video at all, which I'm like, you want us to sit here quietly for an hour? Yeah, no one could be made happy. So eventually I started just telling people, I was like, if you're upset that we talked through the video, there is a whole uncommentaried video you can go watch on the Bethesda and Xbox fucking YouTube channels. Go watch it. If you're upset that you didn't hear what we had to say through that, go to the very end. I remember now still, it's 53:22 on the timestamp, and you can listen to our impressions there. There's easy fixes to this, but we got to experience the more annoying side of the gaming community through that video, where people are quick to
I didn't get to experience
start complaining. Well, I read them all, but for the most part, I laughed every time I read some of those complaints because
fuck them.
They were just so quick to be like, "You didn't do what I what about?" I'm like, you're talking to the wrong guy, dude. I don't care.
I mean, I'm gonna be that guy, but it would be that game to bring out that audience.
Yeah.
So
there's certain, not to talk shit about anybody who is looking forward to a Bethesda game or Starfield or whatever, and we actually had a lot of great things to say about that game.
Yeah.
So it's not.
I
even
don't
like,
mean it in that way.
Yeah. No. Sure,
it's
but
a popular game.
There is certain devs and publishers that are so big that they have huge followings, and with that, the same as like if you play World of Warcraft or Call of Duty, you're going to run into assholes more often than not. But you're going to run into them more often because there's just a bigger pool of people you're playing with.
That's what
Same thing with these huge companies that have huge followings like Blizzard, Bethesda, a couple other ones out there. If you say something about them at all, you're going to run into plenty of people who are willing to have the conversation with you, but you're also going to run into the fanboys who cannot tolerate
having opinions,
anything that is not what they think of that publisher or dev, which is just that they're the best and cannot ever do anything wrong, which is just ridiculous and child-minded. But that's fine. That's just,
it's just not productive.
Yeah. So. Well, yeah, and especially with our channel being devoted to conversation, whether we agree or not. It's about the conversation. It's about, getting in there and talking about it. And when people are just like, a light switch of like, nope or yep, and if you don't agree, fuck you, it's boring. So
true.
And we got a taste of that with that Starfield video. But we also shout out to everyone who watched that video. It's fucking crazy. But also everyone who, there's so many comments in there, people just talking about how excited they are for that game, their hesitations on that game, all sorts of stuff. There's a lot of really cool conversations going on in that video. But I've checked out a bit on that video because of the volume of comments we got there. So, yeah. But yeah, good to hear from you. And I'm glad you are hopefully enjoying Final Fantasy 16. I'm sure you are. Let me know what you think of it without spoilers, please. And yeah, we love you too. Got anything to add to that?
I kind of did while we were talking. So.
All right, perfect. Thank you for the comment, Jeremy. Moving on, we did a review of ESO, Elder Scrolls Online, and specifically Necrom, because that is the most recent expansion. And we talked about it, and we had a good conversation, both from perspective of someone who has been playing the game for a little bit, and then somebody who's slightly dabbled in it. So we got some different perspectives. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that conversation. But we got a comment from JRPG Nation 6375 saying, I play the Star Wars Old Republic MMO on piece of shit laptop. Stopped working, but that time I spent playing were one of the best.
Oh, okay.
I'm playing this, and I hope the campaigns reach the level of that game. Right now, I can't say what MMO is the best, but from long time ago, I say is pretty much 14. I had better experience with Final Fantasy 14 Reborn and Star Wars. I really wish they would port over Star Wars and Final Fantasy 14 over to Xbox. I'm pretty annoyed how often I forced to look at the store. I never experienced this shit with those two games.
Okay.
What do you have to add to that? You're our resident Final Fantasy 14 player.
Well, I would say you look like you have a tendency towards story-centric MMOs, which I can definitely relate to.
That's a good observation, yeah, because the Star Wars Old Republic is super story-heavy.
And then, if I'm understand this right, the store looking a lot of MMOs really once you look in the cash shop. If that's what I'm getting. As far as like the 14 and Star Wars to Xbox thing, that's kind of rough. I can't speak for the Star Wars one, but I know for 14 it is a difference of what each company wants. Microsoft basically says they want Xbox dedicated servers for the game, and Square does not want that. So they can't seem to come to terms on that one,
which sucks.
Yeah, so that's basically the reason 14 is not on Xbox. Hopefully, eventually, because someone who loves the game, even though I'm taking a break from it pretty much right now, I think more people having access to it is just a good thing, and it worked for 11 really well. So. I don't have a lot of experience with Star Wars Old Republic. I remember playing a little bit, and it was pretty interesting. I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan, so it's kind of hard for me to get into it. But I do like old school BioWare, to be very specific, and I hope for a comeback of them. So,
sure.
But yeah, as someone who loves 14, though, I'm glad to see someone else who enjoys it. So,
yeah. Star Wars Old Republic was pretty good from what I played. It was super story-centric and kind of felt like a BioWare game in terms of like dialogue, which is kind of impressive for an MMO. Would have liked to see more games try and be immersive like that. But I didn't play it enough to get into the companions, but I did hear it had a cool companion system, because BioWare games, you typically have companions with you. So they're trying to do the same kind of thing. In ESO, the companions are pretty good. They level up. You get to put gear on them, and you can assign mounts and stuff to them.
Are they smarter than Lydia?
Who's Lydia?
What, like one of the main companions you get in Skyrim?
Oh,
she runs in front of you and gets killed.
I forgot. They're smarter than that for sure. They almost make the game like a little too easy, but it's still a cool little feature to have, and they'll have their own quest lines throughout the world and regions, and you get to you feel like you earned something when you get them. You can collect them all like Pokemon. So yeah, it's a pretty cool companion system. I don't know if it's going to reach the level of Star Wars Old Republic, but it's a pretty decent system. Also cool to hear that you like 14. We talk about it fairly often on this channel. Chevy plays it regularly, except for right now, and I've dabbled with it. I haven't played it much recently, but I always say I need to hop back in. Right now definitely don't have the time, but if I had it, I would humor it because I have been thinking about playing an MMO again.
Expansion announcement coming this month.
Oh, really? That's cool. Wonder what they're gonna do. Let's see. What'd you say? Wish they would port over Star Wars and Final Fantasy 14 to Xbox. Yeah, it's lame that they don't, especially with 14 because it's already been done on console and plays great over there. So that's just on Xbox at that point. That really sucks because a game like that you don't want just. I think they did that with Final Fantasy 11.
It was on everything.
Yeah, but like, didn't the Xbox servers just be Xbox?
No.
Really?
Yeah, it was with everyone.
Because I remember somebody I knew played it on Xbox and couldn't play with people.
Maybe they picked a dead server. I don't
know. Maybe. I just remember it being a problem. But anyway, yeah, it sucks they don't have it on everything. So I feel you there. But yeah, pretty interesting picks when it comes to MMOs, and hopefully you're enjoying ESO enough. And that's on Xbox, even though I have an issue with them not allowing crossplay, which is fucking insane for an MMO. If it's a struggle to get that to work, you should put a lot of resources into trying to remedy that, because
guarantees just the mod support.
It would be so beneficial to the game to be able to get those merged, because in a game like that, you need as many people as you can to keep that game thriving.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, thanks for the comment, JRPG Nation, and thank you everybody who watched those episodes and commented. But that's gonna do it for this episode of Tastecast, episode 190, which is crazy. We're coming upon 200 here, and that is wild. But thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Chevy, for joining me for this, and I've been Seth. Let's hop out to the outro. All right, that's going to do it for this episode of Tastecast, episode 190. We're getting close to 200. Crazy. As always, thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this episode. Make sure to check out our other episodes. Check us out on our socials and streams, linked down below. You can check out our Discord, link down below. You can talk to us anytime, all time. We're on iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast platforms. If you prefer to listen to us in audio form, we have a Patreon. If you'd like to support the channel more than liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing, if you're brand new, and I have a TikTok, link down below if you want to watch my shorts there, because you can't watch them here because YouTube will not allow me to upload short videos like that for some reason. But yeah, I've been Seth, and until the next one, have a good one, guys, and take it easy.